Go.
Good morning, dear. I hope you are fine. Today we will start a new chapter. It's chapter 12, which talks about multiplication and division of fractions. This chapter is very easy, but we have to pay attention well. 2 over 5 is an example of a fraction. Fraction represents a part of a whole. When I say 2 over 5 or 2/5, it means that 5 is the whole part. If I divide a cake or a pizza into 5 parts, the whole parts are 5, while the taken or eaten number in this case is 2. So I ate 2 parts out of 5. The number that's written above is called the numerator. It represents how many parts did we take or color or eat, while the number that's written below is called the denominator. It represents the whole parts or all the parts of the cake or the pizza or whatever we have to divide. Keep in your mind that all parts are equally. Okay, this circle or this pie or cake or pizza, whatever, should be divided into equal parts. Here, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 parts, so the denominator should be 7. How many parts are colored in red here? 1, 2, 3. So what's the fraction that represents the parts that are colored red? They are 3 out of 7. Another example here. How many parts are colored in blue? We have 1, 2. 2 parts are colored blue, but 2 out of how much? Let's find the total number of the parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the denominator should be 7, and we have to say that 2 out of 7 are colored blue. Now, we saw before how do we add or subtract fractions. Now, we will see how to multiply fraction by each other. It's even more easier than addition and subtraction. Simply, to multiply fractions by each others, we have to multiply the numerators by each other and then multiply the denominators by each other. It's so simple. Let's take an example. 1 over 2 times 3 over 4, or I can say a half times 3/4. To multiply them, I have to multiply the numerators by each other. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 4 is 8. We don't care if they are the same or different. We just multiply the denominators by each other, okay? Now, what's 1/6 of 3/4? 1/6, it means 1 over 6. Of means multiplication. 3/4, it's a 3 over 4. How to find the answer? We have multiplication of two fractions. So what to do? Multiply the numerators by each other and the denominators by each other. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 6 times 4 is 24. Since here this fraction 3 over 24 is reducible fraction, we can simplify it as we see before. So I have to divide to get an irreducible fraction, and I have to divide both numerator and denominator. That's what we called to simplify. Now, since 3 and 24 are both multiples of 3, so let's divide them by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 24 divided by 3 is 8. There's another method. Here I can say that 3 and 6 are both multiples of 3, so I have to divide here by 1 to get 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2, and we can say that 2 times 4 equal to 8. Okay, in both ways you will have the same result. Now, how to divide a fraction? Before talking about division, we have to ask what's the inverse of the fraction? The inverse is its reciprocal. Okay, and so what? The inverse of 2 over 5 is 5 over 2. To find the inverse of a number, I have to replace the numerator and the denominators. Okay, they have to replace their position. So I can say that 5 over 2 is the reciprocal or inverse of 2 over 5. Now, what's the inverse of 5? 5, can we write it as a fraction? Yes, it's over 1. So what's the inverse of 5 over 1? It's now, let's here replace the position of numerator and denominator. So it will be 1 over 5. Okay? Now, to divide a fraction is to multiply the first fraction by the inverse of the second. This is very important. To multiply the first fraction by the inverse of the second. So, let's see an example here. This is the rule A over B divided by C over D. I have to keep the same, the first fraction the same, and replace division by multiplication of the reciprocal or inverse of the second fraction. So instead of writing C over D, I have to write D over C. Okay, and then we have multiplication of fractions. I multiply the numerators by each other and the denominators by each other. Let's see this example to make application more easier. 5 over 6 divided by 8 over 11. As we said, I have to write the first fraction, which is 5 over 6, then replace division by multiplication and write the inverse of the second fraction. So drop down 5 over 6, divide is replaced by a times sign, then 8 over 11, we write its inverse, which is 11 over 8. Now we have multiplication of two fractions, so multiply 5 times 11 is 55. We multiply the numerators by each other and the denominators by each other, so 6 times 8 is... Now what about mixed numbers? A mixed number is one that contains a fraction as well as a whole number, such as here 3 over 4. From the figure, we colored 4 parts here with the blue. So 4 out of 4 is 1 whole. All of this shape is colored. The next one, it's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and we colored 3 out of 4. So I have colored 1 and 3 quarters of the other. Here we have 3 cups full of milk, and the 4th cup is half filled. So to write as a mixed number, I have to write 3 half, 3 and 1 over 2 next to it. How to change a mixed number into a fraction? I can say here how many parts are colored: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We colored 7 parts, but into how many parts is this shape divided into 4 equal parts? So the answer here should be 7 over 4. Is there another way to find the answer without counting? Yes, of course. How? I have, with respect to the numerator, I have to multiply the denominator by the whole number and then add the numerator. And I have to keep the denominator the same. Let's see an example. 3 over 4. Let's multiply the whole by the denominator. So 2 times 4 plus the above numerator, which is 3. And we keep the denominator the same. So here 2 times 4 is 8 plus 3, 11. and the numerator is 4, so it's 11 over 4. Keep in your mind that the denominator should be written the same, okay, or your answer will not be correct. Thank you for your